Welcome back, everybody. Quan Incredible here to bring you the review for the second chapter of The Four Knights of the Apocalypse, the brand new Seven Deadly Sins sequel series. Now, obviously, everyone can agree that the first chapter is the introductory chapter, but after seeing so many series, I would argue that the second chapter is just as important as the first one, just because the second chapter is usually like the true start of the series, not just the intro or the pilot, so to speak. And I can honestly say the second chapter it was pretty good. I enjoyed it a lot. In the beginning, we get the true start of Percival's journey. He's descending down God's finger. He noted that he had been descending an entire day and still wasn't even below the clouds yet. So it just really goes to show that God's finger was mad high up in the sky. And we get this small moment when he's trying to sleep that he misses his granddad, which is very understandable, seeing as he spent his entire life with him, and seeing that this might be somewhat of a reoccurring thing. It was kind of like a little nice little sweet moment. And as he climbs down a little bit, we get this beautiful landscape of Britannia. Honestly, it looks really dope. And then from here, I really do enjoy the, I guess I would call it Dragon Ball vibes I kind of get from this, the whole younger protagonist who's very ignorant to the world, because his first interaction with the stone bird is just really funny. Even when he finally crashes down and lands, he just falls down and goes through a tree and skids across the ground. When he sees the fox that is on the I want to say the fox, this little dude is on the cover page, or was on that first color image, at least the one that I had seen. So I'm assuming this is going to be a reoccurring or main character too, in the series, almost like a mascot, so to speak. I mean, maybe not as important as Hawk, but somewhere on that same tier of Hawk. If you were a fan of Seven Deadly Sins, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not, it's cool. But we do get Percival's initial reaction to meeting this guy. He introduces himself so formally and just wants to be friends, and he wants to find more out about just how the world is down here. So it's just really funny because he's trying to, he power walks the fox down. He's after this dude, just trying to get some information. And then that's when we run across the first actual people outside of his grandpa and his dad that we get to meet. And that would be the Cat's Street Troop, which is formed up of these three characters right here. We have the leader Cats, this girl Elba, and definitely the most interesting of the bunch, Donnie. And it's funny because Percival walks in on their street performing, and of course he's absolutely blown away because since he's way up on God's finger, he's literally never seen anything like this before in his life. He is absolutely oblivious to the world around him, which is one of the things that I really do enjoy about this MC already. Is just, I said this earlier, but it's just a lot of Dragon Ball Kid Goku vibes, which I really do like. But then, of course, his ignorance leads him to being robbed by Donnie, who just kind of suspends him in midair as he takes his luggage, and just they ride off in their carriage. And this is honestly the first glimpse that we do get to see of Percival's main character powers, or what makes him really special as a MC. And we can see obviously his physical stats are through the roof. It's obviously we could tell he was special after surviving the attack from Ironside, his durability. But we also see that he's pretty fast, being able to outspeed a horse in his first couple steps, because he's still yelling as he had already passed it. He said he was just he ran way too far. After catching up with him, the street trope does take a bit of interest in him, and this is where we kind of get what Percival is really after in this journey. He is in fact searching for Ironside to get answers. It's just really funny how simplistic this character is, and how he's going about it. They do agree to take him to the village, but Donnie's basically wants to see if he has any special tricks or abilities or anything that they can potentially make money on in the very near future. And I feel this is actually really important. We see him stance up with his bow and arrow or whatever, he's about to do some crazy a Robin Hood type feat. And it's funny because we see him sharpening arrows or making arrows in chapter 1. So I was definitely under the impression that he was some type of really skillful archer, but turns out he's a awful shot. He is a terrible shot. He somehow hit Donnie, who was standing behind him, and this is a reoccurring thing for him. I am assuming. I'll wait to the end of my review to kind of give you my opinion on this, because there's definitely more I want to say about it. One thing that these three people do give us is just a glimpse of regular life. That's one thing. If you're a fan of Seven Deadly Sins, you know what I'm talking about. If you weren't, no big deal. But essentially, in Seven Deadly Sins, everybody we kind of ran into was extremely special in some kind of way. There wasn't too many characters that were introduced that weren't all that special. Like even in the beginning, most of the Holy Knights, even if they were fodder, they were still special because they're Holy Knights. Obviously, lots of the other villagers that they met in the beginning weren't special, but as far as like characters that were somewhat important to the series, they were all somewhat special. I'm not saying these three are going to be like in-game characters or anything, but it's just really nice to see this glimpse of how like regular people are, and just how like they didn't have any amazing magic or any amazing abilities, so they didn't cut it as Holy Knights, which is why they are like street performers. And even the mentioning of Percival being a potential child of a Holy Knight was kind of crazy to them. It's also worth noting that in Seven Deadly Sins, we didn't really get to see any like children or like child Holy Knights. Like I mean, granted, we did get to see like a glimpse of like Griamore, Hauser, and Gil Thunder as like children, but they didn't seem like crazy impressive. They seemed like regular kids. Whereas Percival obviously seems like way stronger, like way just overall better than they were as children. So that's kind of an interesting thing. I don't know what that could potentially mean in the future. Now we do get them traveling to the village. I don't know why, but I just really like how this was set up. Like how just this like triple panel is on this page of them like just going on their journey and gradually getting closer. I just really like that. Like I always have like things or setups like that where they're just like it just shows that gradual progression. Then upon getting closer to the village, they find out that it is in trouble. Villagers are requesting a like holy night just because like it's being attacked by a wolf. Donnie, who's Donnie's like I really do enjoy Donnie's character because like you don't need no holy nights. We're like right here. We can definitely handle a wolf. You're gonna give us a meal and like a room for like free. Like he's always trying to benefit off of something. I kind of like Donnie. He definitely grew on me in this chapter. But of course they get there and it's this giant wolf that's like trying to eat an entire house. Reminds me of one of the animals from Seven Deadly Sins. Like I want to say it looks like Oslo a little bit. Probably not. It probably doesn't have any relation to him, but it just looks a lot like him a lot. So they're going to turn around because this is like it's a giant wolf attempting to eat a house. This is when Percival jumps into action and he like quotes something that he got from his granddad, saying like unnerve the evil and help the weak, risk your own life to become one who protects what's important. So it's just cool to see that like a lot of his granddad's teachings are going to stick with him, and he has like really strong feelings about this, and I can definitely tell that this is going to come back later when he's like I will never feel the way they do again, and I won't let anybody feel that way either. So basically Percival is one of these main characters who's going to like try to prevent anyone from losing anything, which is going to set up to be great because this always like fails in some way, like because no one can ever truly protect everything. So the moment that he will be unable to at some point in the future is going to be so great. Like I'm looking forward, like obviously I'm not looking forward to him being sad, but I'm looking forward to the potential growth that he's going to have off of that. So he lines up his like arrows and he shoots off two, but one like curves back and hits him in the head and the other one pins his cloak. And this is kind of what I was going to get into earlier, is I don't think that he's just that horrible of a shot. I honestly think this is somewhat connected to whatever his magical ability could be. Just because granted, it isn't similar to what Ironside can do when he does like his little cross section X slashes or whatever, but I feel like it has to be somewhat connected to it. I'm not exactly for sure how this connects, but there is something there. It just really sticks out to me. Let me know what you guys think his ability or power could be based off of this crazy connection that I'm seeing here, or if you guys have another like thought on it. I'm very curious to know if you guys have already speculated what his ability could be. But I'm kind of thinking that it has something to do with like redirecting things potentially. At least for right now, and then he's gonna have to like kind of learn how to like control that throughout the series. So as I was saying, he did pin his own cloak down, so he's unable to dodge the wolf's attack, which is when Donnie steps in and like takes the blow for him. And this is really dope because it was like we got to see growth from Donnie just in this chapter. Like he was, a sourpuss. He didn't really want to be about anything. He was basically a Holy Knight dropout, so he didn't have any motivation at all. And just over the course of this very short journey, Percival inspired him to want to be more heroic again. And he basically took like an entire claw slash across the back for him. And it's funny because in like hindsight, had this wolf attacked Percival like that, Percival more than likely would have been fine. Like he probably could have tanked that, which is really funny. I don't know if Donnie like will realize this in the future, but Percival honestly would have been okay after that. But we get this really dope moment of him where like the wolf goes to attack Percival and he just like one hand stops it, just like no, like he just is like nope. And then from here, I didn't know what I was expecting, but for Percival to just go like open hand just like palm smacked this wolf in the face. Like it was oddly satisfying. Honestly, it was oddly satisfying. I really was not expecting a like open palm smack. And with that, we see another like mark similar to the one that was on the stone bird in the first chapter, kind of like fizzled away. The mark was even present when the wolf was eating the house. Again, same as the stone bird. I didn't even notice it until my second read through of the chapter. I was like, oh yeah, that mark was there on its tail, but like I just kind of assumed it was part of it. But no, it's definitely the work of some type of wizard or knight that we do get to see a couple pages later. The like wolf type creature that Percival seen earlier, the gem on it is allowing this person to kind of look or spy and see what's going on, and it definitely appears from like how he's wording it that he's going to send another one. Another small little tidbit or small little thing, if you were a Sins fan, it is like in the background on the like painted glass window. You can see like on the painted glass there's this character or figure that looks very similar to King Arthur, and another character to the right of him, or I guess to our right or like his left, that looks really similar to Merlin. So I'm assuming there is a like somewhat deep connection between Arthur, the Knights of Camelot, and these guys who are after Percival, Ironside. All of this is definitely connected on a grander scale. And that is the chapter essentially. And honestly, I thought this was a really fun chapter. Like it definitely accomplished a lot of goals, such as getting Percival off of God's finger, getting him like, meeting some people and getting him to a village, as well as introducing the only other character that we seen on the color page, which was this like tiny fox wolf type creature. So we got a lot here. As I was saying, with his magical ability, I do think it could be something related to redirecting things or changing the trajectory of things in some way. And I'm honestly looking forward to him developing his ability throughout the course of the series. Because if you were a fan of the Seven Deadly Sins, all of the characters that were in there already had their abilities like fully established. Like it was like more or less of them just realizing their true potential of their abilities or unlocking past power. Like it was really never them like learning something and then it was never them finding out something and then learning a new ability entirely and like growing with it. Whereas this, we are going to get that traditional feeling of a main character learning their ability, like mastering it, and then going farther, which is always like a fun trip to go on. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's looking like this is going to be a weekly series, so I am very pumped and excited for that. Definitely let me know how you guys felt about the chapter down below. I'd probably give it like a solid 8. I just feel like this was a really good chapter. Like it was a really really solid chapter. Not much to really complain about it here. I am really digging how Percival has looked in a lot of these panels. His little funny chibi moments, as well as just how the art direction is going. I think it's going pretty good here. So like I said, yeah, give me your thoughts down below. Let me know your opinion on the chapter, on his abilities, and what you think is going to happen next. Aside from that, make sure you guys like the video as well as subscribe to the channel for more Four Knights of the Apocalypse content. Definitely going to do like just some basic videos on it coming up here, just because I feel like there's some things to talk about already. Aside from that, you guys enjoy the rest of your guys' day, and I will see you all in my next video.